Alright, so we're meeting with the workplace supervisor. The trainer will be played by me, and the workplace supervisor will be played by Tamara here. So what we're going to go through is we're going to meet up, obviously, ensure the learning plan is suitable for their needs, suitable timings, confirm the use of the room and work area for training, availability of training resources that meet the requirements, control measures are suitable, inform the supervisor of their role in ensuring training continues in the workplace, which that will be you, and get an agreement of the plan after or pending any requirements of change in the sessions or the learning plan for the draft. Alright, so first we're going to discuss the draft learning plan that I've done for said training sessions to make sure that it meets the needs of your learner cohort and your workers. Alright, so just so we can clarify on the learners to make sure that my draft learning plan does suit their needs, because I've actually run through the bios that you've actually given me, but can you just run me through each learner just real quickly and just elaborate a little bit on each one?
Yeah, absolutely. So learner one has recently moved to Australia. They're really good with technology and like reading, literacy skills, but they need some assistance with collaboration and learning and self-management and their oral communication, so their ESL, and although they have improved in their English speaking, they just need a bit more support with that. Learner 2 is a very experienced team leader with really strong skills, but they need some assistance with collaboration and active listening. They're very motivated to improve their skills and strengthen their skills as a leader and to support their team. Learner 3, so they're new to the call centre industry, very enthusiastic, so I really like them, very social, but they do struggle with reading, writing and listening, which can affect them when they're trying to read scripts for their calls. So really want to help to improve their communication skills and those skills when they're working. And then we've got learner 4. So they've returned to work after a long break and they're a little bit hesitant about using technology as they're not familiar with it and they have a bit of concern around privacy. So really love to be able to address that with them. And then they have really strong self-management and communication skills, but just really need that support with the digital and collaboration side.
Yeah, cool. So what we've actually done with the learning plan based on that as well, which is really interesting that you say. So we're going to actually break it into 3 90-minute sessions if we can, because there's a lot that we can actually get through. You did mention that we have access to the office space for the practical side only. I understand it's a real busy environment as well, and then we have the classroom or the back room for the classroom with some of the classroom type equipment that we might need, including our computer kind of room, our seating, our data projector, suitable chairs and tables as well.
Okay, so just like a couple of things on that. So you're saying call centre staff generally work between 9 and 5, so we could structure it so they do this from say like 9:30 till like
in a quieter time, right?
Yeah, quieter time.
I did notice that there wasn't any data projector available or listed as the equipment that you had in the office. Is that?
That's correct. We don't have one.
Well, that's a requirement for that, but I actually have one portable one myself that I can bring. So I actually have something like that if it's not available at some of the classrooms, which tends to be the case because it depends on the size, I can actually bring that myself as well.
Fantastic.
All right, so just to run you through the session plans, we've got 3 session plans. We're going to break them down to 30 minutes each just because of time constraints. I still think that we can get through a chunk of what we need to, and it really, the learners have a lot of retention from that as well. But just to break down each session, we've got session 1 is going to be working with others, all the policies and procedures, a lot of the classroom type stuff. In this session, obviously, we have the icebreaker at the start. We have the housekeeping rules. We do the introductions. We do all the formal stuff that we need to do. We hand out any... Sorry, let's go back. We're going to hand out any resources they need, including organisational and ethical standards, policies and procedures for working with others, workplace discrimination and bullying legislation, and work health and safety workplace policies and procedures. So all of these things that we're going to be handing out. Additionally to that, we're going to be handing out some resources in terms of some of the learners that struggle to read and write, or that might be something they need to improve on. We'll have some handouts generally just to help them through. We'll have some visuals in terms of resources that they can have access to if it's a little bit easier for them to work visually or kinesthetically as well. So what we're going to do in this session, all theoretical based, we'll go through the organizational ethical standards, policies and procedures, team responsibilities and duties and their relationships, organizational policies and procedures relating to workplace discrimination and bullying as well. So a lot of these topics, obviously policies and procedures, going to be working with the handouts as well. We're going to have some activities because the learners, they can't sit in the class all day, even if it's for 30 minutes, it is hard to keep attention as well. So we're going to have just some really super simple discussions or activities like, for example, a class discussion and mind map on the whiteboard that we have access to, all the key words related to conflict. So they're just going to shout stuff out and say this, that, and then we're going to, based on the policies and procedures, how would we address those things? And kind of a little bit more interactive. Anyone that's not, they can write stuff down and then they can hand it to the teacher. We're just going to really try and adapt to what the learners need based on these activities as well. All right, so session plan 2, working with others in the workplace. So this is going to be the practical part they're going to be doing in the office. Ideally, we only really need access, there's 4 learners, so we're only going to need access to probably one of the workspaces of the learners that are currently in the session as well. So this is going to be really good for them to kind of get used to the workspace, and we're going to do our learning and everything that they need to learn, we're going to put it into a real life situation in their workspace, not actually calling someone, but just so they can adapt a little bit more as well. So obviously we're going to do an overview of the session, which are going to be workplace goals, methods of resolving team problems, including referral to relevant organizational personnel, and supporting the team and building relationships. So for example, workplace goals, communication channels used to communicate in work teams, including meetings, one-on-ones, emails, instant messaging, calls. We can do that all from that workspace, make it really, really practical as well. Then I'll just give you an example of another activity that we're going to be doing. We're going to be using the learner profiles, so the key responsibilities section, nothing about their personal lives, and hand them out, discuss each profile in regards to the key aspects of what they've learnt above. This will make it relevant to them in the workplace. Bear in mind, we're not going to divulge any information about them, anything that's going to make them feel uncomfortable, as there is a learner that potentially might have some personal issues that,
privacy.
that they don't really want to discuss as well.
Correct,
And while we're talking about the practical session that we're doing for session 2, let's just talk about the risk assessment tools that we have at hand. Just some things that we've found, and we kind of want to adapt to, or we want to fix or change, so we're in the safest environment possible. Something that was brought back to my attention was the monitor screens of the windows. Some glare from the screens from the outside because they're positioned from the window. What we intend to do is to draw the blinds in that 30-minute session as well, and obviously bringing down the brightness on the monitors will also help. We'll also give them, like a couple minute break here and there, just to make sure that they're not affected at all.
Okay.
Obviously, cubicles and chairs, I don't know if this is possible as well, but just in terms of tripping, if there's any cubicles that might blend in with the carpet, we can maybe mark them so when people are walking around, we don't have that issue, or when there's chairs that might be sticking out, we just make sure that they're tucked in the whole time so there's no tripping hazards there. And the only other thing I'd probably mention is kitchen. This might be a really, really small thing, but I'll just touch on it anyway, is fire and electrocution. Just making sure all the appliances are tested regularly and stored when not being used. And silly enough, just labeling them as well so people know where everything is and what they are.
We have all of that.
Alright, so session 3 is going to be all about teamwork, conflict and feedback. And obviously we're going to be doing that in the classroom because we want to be talking about conflict. We really don't want to be doing it on the floor, especially if it might maybe in an off-peak time, but it might still be a little bit noisy. We want everyone to focus, especially on something like this, because teamwork is super important. conflict and feedback are also two big aspects of working with others that we want to really reinforce with your team as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So obviously, again, we'll do an overview of the session. We'll do a bit of a recap, most likely because we are in the classroom now, of the previous two sessions. If they do want to ask any questions, each session we're going to allow them any Q&A or any questions or any homework assignments that we might want to hand out. Just gives them a little bit of time as well. That should only take a couple of minutes at the end if we're doing 30-minute sessions. But this one's really about team improvement and feedback, methods of resolving team problems, including referral to relevant organisational personnel. That's it. So we're going to be working on act on constructive feedback, identify any improvement opportunities. We'll get them to demonstrate how to give and receive constructive feedback as well. And then, just do a little bit of a team activity or a role play where they can work within groups to achieve an objective and address at least one identified problem or conflict in the workplace. And I do believe that this last activity you may want to tweak. That was just a little bit of a...
Yeah. So I was hoping that we could use situations that, like real life examples that they've had during their calls. Prefer not to use ones actually like with team members directly.
Yep.
But just maybe something within their calls, so that they can learn how to give constructive feedback, for future.
Yep. Amazing. Okay, that's easy.
So thank you for running me through that. I just have a couple of questions regarding the classroom setting. So we have two learners or two employees with identified needs. One being ESL. So they'll need support with understanding English and all those things. And then we also have another learner who has ADHD, so they can have issues with attention span and items.
Oh, don't I know it?
So how do you propose we support them in that?
Yeah, cool. So really interesting that you say that, because we do have things in place that we can set up for this, which I'll probably need in the classroom setting anyway, which we can actually get internal staff to come in and help us out and support. We can also have things that they can seek or helplines, things that are going to help with reading and writing, and people that English isn't their first language, essentially. But let's just look at one of the learners that is neurodiverse as well. Their LL&D needs are reading, listening, and writing. Focus, obviously, having ADHD as well, or being neurodiverse. So what we've done is I've just filled in a form as well that shows it's an external support form that we can give to them to show them possible outlets or places they can go to seek help, and how we can get someone in to support them in the classroom as well. So things like, for this learner, disability clearinghouse, reading writing hotline, Read Right Now. We can also get LL&D specialists in to support during that classroom session for that 30 minutes as well, which means that they can help anyone across the board. They can help anyone that might be neurodiverse that needs help with their focus, or to get back in focus for whatever they're doing. And also reading and writing and communicating as well. We also have things where we can actually have translators come in to essentially translate for these learners too. Okay, so based on that, any feedback before we confirm, that we can confirm for me to amend the learning plan, so I can obviously pass it back on to you, and we can have a finalised learning plan for your team.
Yeah, so it all sounds great so far, just with the tweaks that we mentioned, so that you would provide the projector, as we do not have one of those. The adjustment to the role play using real life examples from phone calls and experiences that our team members have had, and then the support people and items for our ADL, neurodiverse, and ESL employees.
All right, great. So I'll amend that. I'll get it back to you, and really, really looking forward to training your cohort. Thank you very much.